So next up, we're going to talk about some assumptions. We've actually been making assumptions all along as we've been conducting statistical tests, but it's time to make them formal. For the t-test for independent samples, there are two main assumptions. The first is that the population data that our samples come from is normal. That is, we just assume that the population data has a normal distribution. The second assumption is called homogeneity of variances. And what this means is that the populations that our samples come from have to also have the same amount of variability in them. According to the null hypothesis, we assume that the population that our samples come from is the same. That is, we just pulled two samples at random from that population. But we have to cover our bases just in case we actually get to reject the null hypothesis. In that case, what we're saying is that our samples actually come from two different populations. If that's true, if we reject the null hypothesis, we end up needing to be in a situation where the variance of population 1 equals the variance of population 2. So this is called homogeneity of variances, and this is what allows us to calculate that pooled variance. If this isn't true, then the pooled variance is actually not a good representation of how much variability there actually are in our populations. The opposite of homogeneity of variance is called heterogeneity of variance. And homogeneity of variance, that's what this is, where the population variance or standard deviation of population 1 is the same as the variance of population 2.